our memorial service for Private Thomas Widley, who was in the 44th New York State Volunteers. I welcome the American Legion, Pat McDonough, the commander of the American Legion, Boy Scout Troop 164 and Cub Scout 251 and the Girl Scouts. So to get on with the ceremony, I'd like to present Pat McDonough, who will tell you about Thomas Widley.
You'll have to bear with me. I didn't know him. I'm not that old, but Thomas Widley, in 1861, following the killing of Colonel Ellsworth in Virginia, Thomas enlisted with 1,000 others from New York. This regiment became the 44th New York Volunteers, or the People's Ellsworth Regiment. After training, the 44th traveled south and was assigned to the 3rd Army Corps of the Army of the Potomac. On May 27, 1862, which is only a few days away, 150 years ago, that's the anniversary, Thomas fell during the Battle of Hanover Courthouse. In this battle, 7 Confederate regiments engaged elements of the 44th and 2 other units. Lieutenant Colonel James Rice wrote about the battle. Again and again, the enemy attempted to advance and charge on a small but gallant line, but in vain. For nearly 2 hours, this terrible struggle lasted. Our muskets became so heated by our rapid firing that many of them discharged in the act of loading, and obliged us to cool them with water from our canteens. Our cartridges were fast being exhausted, although each man had 60 rounds, and amid the flying storm of balls, we emptied the cartridge boxes of the dead and the dying. At length, our cartridges nearly failed. No reinforcements were in sight. It was a question of death or defeat, and preferring the former to the latter, orders were given to fix bayonets and prepare for a charge. Just at this moment, reinforcements broke through the woods and ended the contest. The struggle lasted nearly 2 hours. We lost 30 killed and 70 wounded, over 20% of our entire force of our regiment. Our flag was pierced with over 40 balls. Torn and tattered 4 times, was shot down. But willing, patriotic hands, now cold in death, quickly raised it, and those stars and stripes proudly, defiantly waved in the face of the enemy. The victory was ours. The dead we collected and fittingly laid on the field in line, with their faces looking towards the retreating foe. This last tender and beautiful act towards the dead, rendered by their surviving comrades, had scarcely been performed when the curtain of night fell and the fearful, truthful tragedy was ended. One of the newspapers that wrote about another battle had something that fitting for Memorial Day weekend. These young men yielded up their lives to vindicate the honor of this flag and maintain the integrity of the Union, and their names should not be allowed to sink into oblivion. Deeds of valor and heroism should be regarded among the choicest treasures of a free people, and every town should see to it that the sacrifices and achievements of her sons are not forgotten, but treasured up in grateful hearts and transmitted as a priceless legacy to future generations. Thomas was forgotten for a long time. The gentleman to my right here has done the research on over 480 graves in Yorktown to make sure that they're decorated every Memorial Day. And he discovered that we were overlooking 2 valuable people, Thomas and the other gentleman you're going to be introduced to in a moment. So, Thomas, rest in peace. Thank you for your service.
Amen.
On Thomas's headstone, you may not be able to read it. We actually have a printout because it's so faded from the 1862. For his country he fought. For his country he fought. For his country he died, a martyr to liberty's cause. Fair freedom he loved, and to see her prevail, he died while defending her laws. Sleep, soldier, sleep, in the rough southern tomb, while above the soft breezes prevail. For in summer the birds shall thy requiem sing, from trees o'er the patriot's grave.
Thank you. Girls, place the wreath. Put the flag in.
In that little holder there on the right side, see the star? You see the star? There's a hole behind the star. You got it. Oh, okay. It slides in. And salute. 1962.
If we move over to the grave of Albert Silic, is right behind us.